That is music from the Electric Light Orchestra and Wild West Hero. I'm Martha Quinn, and this week we got a lot of good stuff happening here on MTV. Tonight, Hall & Oates will be guest VJs in Mark Goodman's shift, and Sunday night we're going to be seeing more of ELO, so stay with us.
Bam, 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 ba da 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 ba. Whew, that was a mistake. Afternoon, everybody. If you remember that sound, well, the real version, not the one I did, then you will remember MTV. Well, that is what was MTV. Now it looks a little different. So today, to honor their birthday, earlier this month, let's remember
MTV Music Television.
MTV Music Television. MTV Music Television.
America! Demand your MTV! I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV! Call your cable company and say, I want my MTV!
I've been putting off this video for just some time because with MTV comes music, and playing music on YouTube can be problematic at times. Even a few seconds will get you claimed. So we'll see how it goes. In 1981, MTV Music Television aired their first video and, with the help of the Bugles, whatever it is, made it clear to everyone that video had officially killed the radio star. Hearing your favorite artist on the radio was old news, and seeing them on TV became the newest attraction. MTV did not start as a national channel at the time. However, if you were in New Jersey on August 1st, 1981, you would be presented with
a few seconds away from switching to the redundant sense sequencer. T-minus 27 seconds. We have gone for redundant set sequencer start. T-minus 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15, 14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start. We have main engine start.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
It's not the fact that music videos were unheard of in the 1980s, it was the idea of having a whole channel dedicated to music videos. Previously, you would see music videos on random talk shows or other variety programming, but not like this. When MTV debuted in stereo, it reached 6 million cable subscribers. By 1984, the number of people who subscribed to MTV totaled over 25 million Americans, and advertisers who were initially leery of MTV were lining up to sell their goods and services to the members of the young and rather affluent audience. So one might ask, whose idea was this? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Bob Pittman. While listed as a co-founder, he's credited with coming up with the idea. Bob Pittman once said, "I had this idea in the back of my head when I used to host a 15-minute show called Album Tracks in New York City in the late 70s.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman. This morning on Album Tracks, we'll have news of Yes, Chicago, and Brand X. We'll also have summer concert info for you, new albums due for release, and a profile of Todd Rundgren.
Bob was also at the helm of Time Warner Enterprises, Six Flags Entertainment, Century 21 Realty, and America Online.
You've got mail.
Between the late 1980s and the 1990s, Bob Pittman was born in Jackson, Mississippi on December 28, 1953. His father, Warren, was a Methodist minister, and his mother, Lenita Hurdle Pittman, was a homemaker. Pittman's first foray into broadcasting came in 1968 when he began working part-time as a disc jockey at Brookhaven, Mississippi radio station when he was still in high school.
Young, I tried to get the high-paying job in town, which was bagging groceries at the Piggly Wiggly, and they had no jobs, as you can imagine. And I walked into a little radio station, and the owner of the radio station was there. He said, "Do you get in trouble?" And I go, "No, not really. Do you have good grades?" I go, "Yeah, pretty good." He goes, "Come read this wire copy," ripped it off the thing, "read this in a tape recorder." And he goes, "That's good enough. Go to New Orleans, get your third-class radio telephone operator's license, and you're hired." And that began my career.
Seeking to branch out and to increase record sales by older segments of the population, Pittman also helped launch MTV's sister station, VH1, in January of 1985. The new station was geared to older music listeners ranging in the age from 25 to 45 who were not as interested in MTV's young, trendy taste. Even after MTV lost its way and became just another channel, Bob's love for music continued, and he would create iHeartRadio, which is now just called iHeart. And I find that very interesting, to create a channel that states video killed the radio star, just to go then start a company called iHeartRadio. Now, why was MTV so unique? Like I said, it's not that the concept of music videos was completely foreign before MTV. It was well established in the 60s with clips done by the Beatles, The Doors, and Queen. But those videos were shown sporadically on talk shows and random channels. What MTV brought to the plate was a revolutionary concept, a channel whose sole purpose was to show nothing but music videos all day long, and young audiences were hooked on it because it combined two of their favorite pastimes, music and television. In MTV's early days, its programming consisted of basic music videos that were introduced by video jockeys. Soon, the record industry recognized MTV's value as promotional vehicle. Money was then invested in making creative, cutting-edge videos. Some directors, including Spike Jonze and Michael Gondry, worked on music videos before segueing into feature films. In the 1980s, MTV was instrumental in promoting the careers of performers such as Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, and Duran Duran, whose videos played in heavy rotation. By the late 1980s, MTV started airing non-video programming geared towards teenagers and young adults, and it started premiering popular reality series such as The Real World and Road Rules. You would also see other highly rated shows such as The Osbournes, Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica, Laguna Beach, and My Super Sweet 16. And this was probably the catalyst for changing the entire programming later down the road. And sadly, as part of their rebranding, MTV dropped the tagline Music Television from their logo in 2010. And no one was really surprised about it because what does catfish have to do with music videos? But let's rewind a little bit. Let's take a look at some memorable moments on MTV. First, let's highlight some songs which really benefited from the music video form technology. Some standouts would be Aha, Take On Me, which is still a banger and the video still holds up, and I'll fight anyone who says otherwise. Dire Straits' Money for Nothing.
Look at them yo-yos, that's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV.
Believe it or not, this was cutting-edge animation at the time, with movies like The Last Starfighter and videos like this would eventually turn into effects like MTV would also help many huge bands get a foothold in the industry, such as The Police.
The Police have come up with an interesting concept for the art on their upcoming album, Synchronicity. Yes, interesting name. Sting, Stuart Copeland, and Andy Summers are all having individual photos taken of themselves without letting each other know what type pictures they will be. And this concept stems from the whole the title, actually, which means seemingly coincidental series of events that actually mean something when observed together. All right? So this means if the photos match up in some strange fashion, they've accomplished the purpose of the album cover.
Before the transition into non-music television, MTV would have music-related shows that kept the spirit of MTV while offering some variety. TV shows such as TRL, Headbangers Ball, and Yo MTV Raps. And in my opinion, this would be the sweet spot, having shows that were based on music and also having music videos. So for example, Yo MTV Raps was on MTV from August 1988 to August 1995. Vibe.com says rap music and hip-hop culture are as influential and prevalent as they have ever been, influencing all reaches of the globe and making an impact on all facets of society. Today, seeing rap artists and hip-hop being embraced and promoted on television television and movies and beyond may be the normal. But just 3 decades ago, the culture and music were still in the process of breaking barriers that kept it from being accepted by mainstream America. However, in 1988, MTV would change that, and the hip-hop revolution would begin to be televised thanks to Yo MTV Raps, the network's first large attempt at incorporating rap music videos into its format, enabling fans outside of major markets like New York City and LA to see their favorite artist on the small screen.
Every generation has that one place where everything cool happens, and that's where you find out what you're supposed to like, what you relate to, whether it was American Bandstand or Solid Gold or Soul Train, and that's what Yo MTV Raps was.
On the other end of the music spectrum, we would have Headbangers Ball. The name Headbangers Ball was originally invented and used by DJ John Brent in the UK, and was used on his Rock and Metal Roadshow from 1980 onwards and toured throughout the UK with great success. However, on April 18, 1987, Headbangers Ball premiered on MTV. The inaugural show featured clips by Cinderella, Dokken, Whitesnake, Kiss, and Poison, among others. Another part which made the show a little interesting was they would invite musical artists to help host a program, such as Stryper, which we covered in this video here. Later in the 80s, 1989 specifically, we would see a more stripped down MTV. MTV Unplugged would premiere, and it would have some of your favorite artists. Possibly the most popular would be Nirvana. You would see non-music shows like Remote Control and Just Julie, but overall, music was at the center. Before the ease of just searching a music video on YouTube, you would have to watch TV and wait for the song you want to come on. And like I said, these were introduced by VJs. While there were many, let's talk about a few standouts. The OGs, let's start with Nina Blackwood. Nina Blackwood is an American disc jockey and music journalist who was the first of the original 5 MTV VJs, along with Mark Goodman, JJ Jackson, Alan Hunter, and Martha Quinn. She has been an actress and a model.
Interesting life. Are you at a good place now?
Again, I keep doing that. It's so low. But, Rob, I tell you, I can't. Sometimes when I'm sitting on that same windblown deck, and I'm looking at this little piece of property. I don't have a lot. It's just an acre. But I look around. I see the chipmunks running around, all the birds, the hummingbird this time of year, the woodchuck, the blossoms. And I have my job to do, you know, and I just go, my God, my eyes are gonna start watering. I feel so fortunate. I feel incredibly fortunate.
John J.J. Jackson was born April 8, 1941 and passed away in 2004. He was an American radio and television personality, and along with Nina Blackwood and the others mentioned, would be one of the first VJs on MTV. On MTV, he would often introduce himself as Triple J.
Tape is rolling. What kind of influences did you have when you were growing up in music?
Well, I was really fortunate. I have a mom who was very sophisticated. I mean, in the true sense of the word. I don't mean walking around with your nose in the air. I mean that she had taught me when I was a little kid that the best way to get familiar with, well, actually, she used the word sophistication. She said it's through music and people's foods. She says you're not going to like all the music, you're not going to like all the foods, but if you try, you know, in every culture, then of course some of this is going to seep through. So this happened when I was just a little kid. So in my house we had everything. Or put it this way, my mom took me to see when I was a tot the last tour of Josephine Baker in this country. We saw Count Basie, Duke Ellington. I'm raised in Boston, by the way, and we also saw. She was the one that took me to see Chuck Berry. So, and she's still cool because even when I got into rock and roll, she's seen the Hoodoo Tommy and Rod Stewart, and you know, because they're all old friends, and Zeppelin. And so it's that diverse, and I had that everything from classical music, from Bach and Wagner, you know, into you know B.B. King and those kind of people, Willie Dixon, stuff like that. Yeah.
Martha Quinn. On July 13th, 1981, Quinn was working at NYU's Weinstein's dormitory, where she answered phones and gave students their toilet paper, mail, and light bulbs. At the end of her day, she decided to stop at WNBC AM radio, where she just finished interning her senior year. Coincidentally, California record company executive Bert Stein was also visiting WNBC. He asked out loud if anyone knew what Bob Pittman was doing. You see, Bob Pittman had been the program director of WNBC a year or so earlier, but had left to start a new venture, a little channel called MTV. When assistant program director Buzz Brindle overheard this, he turned to Martha Quinn and suggested that she should try out for a role in the new network as a VJ. Quinn entered the studio knowing nothing about MTV or what the producers expected of her. She did a 4-minute audition where she talked about Earth, Wind, and Fire. MTV executives immediately surrounded her asking, "Who are you? Where did you come from? How old are you?" Quinn was stunned, realizing she had just found the perfect job for her talents. 2 days later, Quinn got the news and she was an MTV VJ.
That's what you should do. You should be a VJ on MTV. And I said, "What's MTV?" And he said, "Oh, it's just like being on the radio, but on TV." And I said, "Oh, I can't do that." You know who'd be good at that? Evan Davies, who I say his name because he works at WFMU still in New York City, and I always say, "I was trying to get you that job." And Buzz was like, "No, you definitely should audition for this."
Later down the road, we would be introduced to Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore was a VJ, then a movie star, and then no one liked him for some reason.
No, it just comes a time where you stop, right? Because you don't want to overstay your welcome. You don't want to be Pauly Shore. And I only say that because, like, Pauly Shore, like, remember everyone at one point was like, "The Weasel." Like, "Hey, buddy." And then one day people were like, "Pauly Shore."
But he has had his redemption arc. I always liked Pauly. Pauly Montgomery Shore is an American actor and comedian and filmmaker best known for his roles in the comedy films Encino Man, Son-in-Law, and Biodome. Adam Curry. Adam Clark Curry was born September 3rd, 1964. He's a podcaster, announcer, internet entrepreneur, and media personality. And yes, an MTV VJ was all at the beginning. And now he's known as the Podfather because he first became involved in podcasting when no one really knew what it was. And now there are some VJs that I'd rather not remember. I'm not going to dig on them too hard, but there were some that really irritated me. Jesse Camp. Jesse Camp won a contest to become a VJ, and unfortunately we were stuck with him as a VJ for some time.
Jobs. Hey, for a guy like me to have a shot at it, I mean, it's great, you know. It's the best job in the world, and so, hey, I was gonna, you know, I heard, you know, hey, why not, right? Everyone can take a shot. What was the question?
And also Downtown Julie Brown with the Wubba Wubba Wubba. Not to be confused with regular Julie Brown. Downtown Julie Brown used this catchphrase a lot, and I mean a lot.
Whatever you guys want us. All right then, well, we want you back. Downtown Julie Brown signing off. Wubba Wubba Wubba. Oh, we go. Wubba Wubba Wubba. Goodbye. God bless. Hey, Downtown Julie Brown signing off. Wubba Wubba Wubba. Goodbye. God bless. Okay, from West Germany, because the show goes over there as well, wrote in and asked what Wubba 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 means, and it.
So there we have what MTV was, at least how I remember it, and that's our video today, so please clickety-clickety on all the things, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
It's Retro Renaissance Channel. Abundant topics, let's take them one by one.